What if we stopped designing and running our businesses like machines and started treating them as art? The former approach is entirely mechanistic, utilitarian, and egoistic. The latter is linked to the soul because it involves a creative vision, realizing human potential while also fostering a desire to positively impact the world. This shift in perspective holds the prospect for a brighter, more hopeful future. My name is Ramon Estrada, and this is my Oxford Talk. Entrepreneurs and business leaders set social and political agendas worldwide. Some of them relentlessly chase short-term results and money by making millions of people work more efficiently while depleting our planet's resources. At the same time, the exploits are shared with a limited few, the ones running the show. This outdated business paradigm, which overlooks the human dimension of things, needs to change because it views everything around the company as a means to an end. Prioritizing profit over all else, it is based entirely on fear and survival instincts and a complete lack of trust in life. It is ego-driven. Uncertainty is growing exponentially with pandemics, wars, global warming, and social and political unrest. And it won't help business results come as planned. And that's a problem, because it will trigger even fiercer competition. Ruthless measures will need to be taken into account by those egocentric leaders. Mexico City, 1990. I'm 14 years old and I'm in junior high school. I'm in the classroom listening to Professor Maldonado's history class on the development of capitalism with my friends. He's referring to the massive prosperity and technological advancements that the Industrial Revolution brought. He also mentioned how the gifts were not distributed equally. There was an enormous amount of rural families in England from small villages moving to Manchester City to work in the factories, where whole families, including both parents and their children, had to work for 12 hours or more just to survive, with no proper housing or access to education. I am feeling sad while thinking about the Mexican families migrating to the US for a better life. Also thinking about the financial insecurity in my home because my father is unemployed again and my mother's brain cancer treatment is depleting our savings. And then Professor Maldonado mentions Robert Owen, a Scottish factory manager and an entrepreneur. He improved the conditions of his workers and their families by reducing working hours, providing housing and education for the children. I am feeling energized and I have goosebumps all over my body. I just learned that businesses can have a noble pursuit of creating a positive impact, and without realizing it, I found my professional purpose. Years passed and I am living my work and my personal lives in parallel. My curiosity about consciousness development led me to meditation, Qigong, shamanism, Buddhism, Kabbalah, parapsychology, and eventually to coaching. I was intentional about doing the inner work to become a better version of myself, and overall being a good father to my kids. Meanwhile, I was actively involved in the business world, serving as a consultant at PwC, earning my MBA at IESE, completing a summer internship at Endeavor, and attending executive education programs on venture capital at Harvard and Berkeley. I eventually founded several companies, one of which was awarded as one of the most innovative companies in the world. I felt that I was living my dream at one stage, but it became a nightmare. I worked harder than ever, trying to clear my mind and recharge my energy, and regardless of how significant my achievements were, they were unfulfilling. I couldn't share how I felt with my co-founders, investors, and team members. I felt lonely and ashamed. And now I know that I was not alone. According to Endeavor's Brazil's research on mental health, 94% of entrepreneurs have experienced at least one adverse mental condition. 85% have had anxiety, 37% have had burnout, and 22% have experienced panic attacks. In my own experience as an entrepreneur, after studying the human mind and speaking with hundreds of founders and business leaders as an executive coach, I have come to realize that entrepreneurship is frequently a painful experience. It is inherent in its nature. Still, the suffering that mental health problems bring can be optional and is directly linked to a double disconnection. First, within ourselves, by overexposing our rational mind, continuously triggering our ego with fear and disregarding both our physical body and our emotions. The second is making us forget why we started our business in the first place and losing sight of our purpose and its meaning, feeling like the Groundhog Day. On a meditation retreat at Plum Village, a Buddhist monk introduced me to the work of Dr. Iain McGilchrist on his studies on the divided brain, and it was fascinating. The left brain is responsible for creating a model of reality, limiting variables and enabling us to manipulate what's in front of us to achieve our desired results. It's beneficial, but it makes everything appear to be a means to an end. It creates an ego-driven world of me versus them, a world where we often view people, animals, and the planet as resources for the business world. On the other hand, the right brain is responsible for opening ourselves to new possibilities beyond our individuality, sustaining and connecting to the world on a deeper level, much more profound. Artists are those who work with both parts of their brains in a way similar to a flow or grace state, where they are aware of their surroundings while having a clear intention and then perform by connecting two resources while transforming their obstacles into opportunities that move them closer to their goal. So, why do we consider performance artists to be those who live and act by using both parts of their brains, but when it comes to business, we limit ourselves to use one of them? That's where a sudden burst of energy exploded in my mind, just like when I was 14 years old, and it came with a voice, an inner voice that said, business is an art. Think of business as an artistic form of creative initiative to achieve results in a meaningful way with these three principles. The first one is that entrepreneurs are artists, regardless of whether you're launching a company or participating in a startup or leading a corporation. You can show your inner creativity, the right brain, through your work, which uses the left brain. The essence is not just doing, it is being radically authentic and connecting to who you are and what you're doing. Frida Kahlo, the renowned Mexican painter, had no formal training in painting. And after surviving a terrible accident, her passion for life allowed her to show her inner richness on a blank canvas. Oprah Winfrey wanted to be the next Barbara Walters before becoming a famous media entrepreneur. One day, she interviewed a woman who suffered from sexual abuse, and Oprah couldn't help but connect with that suffering with the one she felt as a young girl. Oprah disclosed her own experience, and built an empire with the sole mission of empowering people worldwide. She combined the passion of an artist's brain with her business passion for thriving. Principle number 2 is considering your company as a stage where everything happens, where passion, preparation, and execution meet, where people, processes, technology, and equipment serve a common purpose. Every person involved could be seen as a band's talent and the materials as musical instruments. Together, music scores can not only be played in harmony, but improvisation can take that performance to the next level by making the team energized with delight. In his book, The Heart of Business, Hubert Joly details Best Buy's transformation from a bankrupt company to a successful one by repurposing the company's purpose and empowering all the employees to bring their best. Final and third principle is considering all stakeholders as the audience. A left-brain trick makes us think that we live in a separate world, but science shows that we are all interconnected. Humans, animals, and the rest of the planet. And that we can have a positive impact on our environment. Just look at the effects that Antoni Gaudi's Basílica de la Sagrada Família has had in my city, Barcelona. A building I see outside my front door every time I leave my building. This icon is an excellent example of how an endeavor has contributed to the transformation of a lively Mediterranean city from a fishing and commercial hub into a prosperous, vibrant, and creative city open to the world. Gaudi's dream was big, complex, and generous enough to outlive him. As a business example, consider what John Mackay and Raj Sisodia mention in Conscious Capitalism, where Whole Foods generates its high profits by fulfilling its business mission of improving the health and well-being of everyone on the planet through the offering of higher quality foods and better nutrition. And now I want you to come closer, please. I am going to share something that will bring it home for you. You can be radically authentic and live with your presence while navigating uncertainty, working wholly in body, mind, and spirit with joyful energy and passion, and achieve crazy positive impact through your business. To do that, embrace the idea that business is an art while you becoming a business artist.